Over the past 6 months, the price of RAM has gone from this to this. The average price of RAM has more than tripled over the past 6 months, a cost being passed on to both consumers that are looking to buy RAM and those that have no idea what it is. RAM acts as a computer's memory, essential to products such as phones, computers, and even cars. Increased RAM prices are already leading to price hikes and spec downgrading across the industry, and it could even lead to some price hikes and inflation in non-technology industries. I mean, can you think of any company that doesn't spend money on computers? Any company that isn't using Microsoft Word, Excel, or some sort of computer chip in its equipment? I sure can't. We can expect that price to be passed on to consumers. If I were to watch any one sector, it would definitely be budget phones and laptops. These products are on thin margins, and the increases in RAM prices necessitate cuts to the specs or price hikes. There's not much reason to buy a new budget device when second-hand flagships are way better. For companies like Apple, high-end phones and laptops, they'll probably do fine. I mean, Apple has been pricing RAM at these levels for years. It just took a global shortage for the rest of the industry to catch up. But why is there a shortage? Well, AI, of course. Computer memory demand from the AI industry has grown so rapidly that there isn't enough RAM to go around. And unfortunately for consumers, AI companies are willing to pay a lot more for RAM than we are. So if you want some RAM, prepare to go band for band with that. Unfortunately for us, my Tim's card wasn't enough to convince these companies to shift their production from high-value consumers like us to pathetic, puny little multi-billion-dollar corporate contracts. In October, South Korea's SK Hynix and Samsung Electronics signed a letter of intent to supply memory chips for OpenAI's data centers. Under the deal, orders are projected to increase to up to 900,000 wafers a month, or around 40% of global output, for one AI company. But it gets better. In December, US-based Micron Technologies announced a shuttering of its consumer RAM business. According to Micron's chief business officer, Sumit Sadana, Micron withdrew from the consumer market to improve supply and support for our larger strategic customers in faster growing segments. According to me, he thinks we're poor. But that's just 3 companies. There are others. Micron, Samsung, and SK Hynix only make up around 93% of the market. So that's not a monopoly, it's an oligopoly. The AI companies, really, they're sharing. They only want the majority of production. There will be some left over. I mean, OpenAI only wants 40% for themselves. I'm sure Meta, Google, Apple, Amazon, a bunch of other smaller ones, I'm sure they'll leave plenty left over for us. And there will be more once production increases. More facilities are being developed. Now, they only do take a few years to come online from planning to production, so there will be a bit of a wait, but once we build out enough for AI demand, I'm sure we'll start building out some for consumers. We might start to see a return to what we once had in the consumer market. Maybe. So that just leaves the question, when will prices return to normal? Well, if you listen to industry executives from Micron and Team Group, it definitely won't be in 2026. Whether it's 2027, 2028, or a more prolonged price change like we're seeing with GPUs, it's anyone's guess. But in the meantime, if you need consumer electronics, you might have to start looking at the used market at last-gen specs, or just bite the bullet and pay the extra cost. Regardless, in 2026, it looks like consumers will be paying more for less. Thank you for watching.